Israel-Iran conflict is raising tough questions. Israel's Operation Rising Lion on June 13th targeted Iran's nuclear sites, killing hundreds, while Iran's missile strikes on Israeli cities have killed dozens. Does Israel have moral ground to attack Iran? Let's explore this complex issue from both sides. Stay tuned. Israel justifies its actions as self-defense. Iran's nuclear program, which Israel believes could lead to a weapon, is seen as an existential threat, especially given past Iranian rhetoric calling for Israel's destruction. Since the 2015 nuclear deal collapsed in 2018, Iran has enriched uranium to near weapons-grade levels, alarming Israel. The June 13th strikes on Natanz and Isfahan, which killed 14 nuclear scientists, were framed by Israel's PM, Benjamin Netanyahu, as a necessary preemptive move to protect Israeli lives, citing Iran's support for anti-Israel groups like Hezbollah and Hamas. From Israel's perspective, there's a moral argument. A state has the right to defend itself against a perceived imminent threat. Iran's backing of Hezbollah, which has launched thousands of rockets at Israel, and Hamas, responsible for attacks like the October 2023 assault that killed 200 Israelis, fuels this view. Israel points to Iran's missile program capable of striking Israeli cities, as seen in the June 14th retaliation on Tel Aviv, and its regional influence through militias in Iraq and Syria. Supporters on X argue Israel's actions align with international law's principle of anticipatory self-defense, especially given Iran's refusal to allow full IAEA inspections of its nuclear sites. On the other hand, Iran and its allies see Israel's attack as a clear violation of sovereignty and international law. Iran insists its nuclear program is for peaceful energy production, a claim supported by some UN findings, though transparency issues persist. The Israeli strikes killed 224 Iranians, including 75 women and children, and hit civilian infrastructure like a hospital in Kermanshah, prompting Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi to call it a war crime. Critics, including Middle Eastern nations like Turkey and Oman, argue Israel's preemptive strike lacks moral ground when diplomacy was still an option, especially as Iran had signaled willingness to return to nuclear talks before the attack. International law adds complexity. The UN Charter allows self-defense under Article 51, but only if an armed attack occurs or is imminent. Iran hadn't directly attacked Israel before June 13th, though its proxies have. Legal experts on X debate whether Iran's nuclear advancements and rhetoric constitute an imminent threat justifying Israel's actions. Critics also highlight Israel's history of covert operations like assassinations of Iranian scientists since 2010, which some call state terrorism, undermining its moral stance. Meanwhile, Iran's missile retaliation on Israeli cities, killing 24, raises questions about its own moral conduct, as targeting civilians also violates international norms. The moral ground here is murky. Israel argues it's protecting its existence against a nuclear threat, and Iran's proxy warfare, a stance some see as justified given the stakes. Iran and its supporters view Israel's attack as an aggressive act against a sovereign nation, killing civilians and ignoring diplomatic paths. Both sides have blood on their hands: Israel with its preemptive strikes, Iran with its support for militias and retaliatory attacks. The debate hinges on whether preemption can be morally justified when the threat isn't immediate, and whether Iran's actions gave Israel a legitimate cause for concern. This conflict raises deep ethical questions with no easy answers. What do you think? Does Israel have moral ground to attack Iran? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more updates.